Hi, my name is Anais. I'm an alumna from USF. I graduated in 2007 and later got my master's online with National University. Just to give you my story. Since
but let me just say this. You don't know how unusual it is to hear somebody use the right alumni. Give her a hand for that, would you please? I am always I always have people say, I'm an alumni of UMBC. I say, no, you're an alumni. I'm very impressed with that. It's my mother, the English teacher, coming out. Go right ahead.
I studied English.
It's very clear.
I'm the first to graduate in my family as well. And my parents immigrated from Dominican Republic, so they didn't have the experience as far as studying in America or the career experience or wherever to give me the advice that I needed. So while I was here at USF, I spent a lot of time with my advisors, and I spent a lot of time later on during my junior and senior year at the Career Center. So that, for me, was really important that I had this support. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's here, because as a graduate, I didn't have this, or I didn't see this happening when I was in school. What I did
Give her a hand for thanking you folks, would you? I mean, that doesn't always happen. That's very nice.
What I did to be more competitive, though, because I was interested in marketing communications while I was an undergraduate, was many internships all the way through the point to after graduation. So I did a lot of internships and spent a lot of time doing that research. But what I wanted to know, I had two questions. So this first one is, what advice would you have for students now? Because when I graduated in 2007, it wasn't impossible to find a job, but it was definitely not as easy, but it's even harder now. So if you have any advice for students that are entering the workforce now, I myself and also trying to find a new position myself. But advice that you would have for students to be more competitive in entering the workforce.
Great question. There's several things. Number one, the more experience you've had in working, and this is to the guy who was talking to me about from biomedical sciences over on that side. The good news about working is that you really do develop a lot of skills that can be transferable and used in all kinds of jobs. I mean, I do believe that one can learn from any kind of job a lot about working with people, group work, and those kinds of things. That's number one. Number two, to make sure whatever work you do your best so that when you get the recommendations, they are very good. But number three, I will say this. I think that we have to teach students that sometimes you have to move from an area to find what you really want, even if you want to come back to that area. I have to say that to my students sometimes. I mean, we've got a lot of jobs of certain types in that area, but there are other jobs. A lot of companies come to us and say, we want people to move to the West Coast with Seattle, whatever, and some will say, okay, others will say, no, I want something right here. And we've got to teach students, I know we love family, but sometimes you have to go away and come back. So being flexible. The other point is, I don't think it's as important to say specifically what you want to do. You want to get as much experience as possible. Too often I hear new students or new graduates, bachelors or masters, saying, I want to do something, and it's very specific. And the companies and places will say, well, we don't have anything like that. You want to be asking the questions, what are the opportunities that I speak well? I know that I am an alumni of USC. I've got the right attitude. You want to make sure you have all your strengths there to talk about. You want them to be impressed with the fact that you can interact with confidence and in a positive way. And you'd be surprised if you stay broad in looking, you're fine. Don't worry about the fact that it's not exactly the job you wanted. Get the experience. Remember, all of you are going to have 4 or 5 careers over the next 40, 50 years. I have to tell my students all the time, stop being so specific when you talk, because you rule yourself out if they don't have exactly that. Just be broader in the perspective. The final thing I would say is spend a lot of time in the Career Center. I tell my students all the time, it's one thing to use the technology and email and the electronic approach. Nothing takes the place of face-to-face. Nothing takes the place of, because I see 100 resumes every couple of days just passing through the office, right? But when you can get to know people in your Career Center well enough, then you can get them working with you as a partner. It's amazing what face-to-face interaction will do. They understand your challenges. They understand your strengths. They can give you feedback. Students, I'll tell you this, for whether you're looking for a job or you're looking for the best education, one of the things I say to all these cohorts and to all of my students, learn to be thick-skinned. The best people, the best educated people, those who are well educated, understand that they can only be better when they can receive constructive criticism with comfort. Well-educated people, people who want to be better and better, want to know not just how well they've done, but where they can improve. So ask for feedback. And for all the students in the room, I would say that, for young faculty especially, it helps when you say, give me the real deal. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me what I'm not doing well. I mean, what I need to do better in, because that's the only way you can grow and develop. Okay? Somebody else, yes, Last question.
I just had one quick thing.
Yes.
Can you, speaking of having conversations, I've been tweeting everything you've been saying,
right,
and I just missed the quote. Can you say one more time when student success has everything to do with, what did you say that was?
I have no idea. What did I say? Alzheimer's person. But I really do believe with our attitudes about receiving constructive criticism. That's the idea, that you want to be tough-skinned, not thin-skinned. You don't want to get your feelings hurt. I have to tell, let me be very frank about this. I work with my young women of all races when they're going off to big research labs, because in medicine and science, people can be real rough and tough and quite frankly, no people skills. A lot of times, not all, but a lot. And so I'm saying prepare for toughness. And I tell young women this, speak up, because women have softer voices. People will respect you more when you project. If you're too soft, they'll walk over you and not even listen to you. And secondly, when they give you that advice, suck it up. Suck it up. You don't want to be crying all the time. No, I'm very serious. It's very important. When you talk to my women's scientists have told me, we've got to teach young women to deal with it. Suck it up. It's very important. I mean, it sounds like a simple matter, or like I'm being cruel. No, I want my young women to be tough enough to deal with a world that is not exactly soft. You get my point? I mean, so it's important to be able to laugh, be upbeat, be tough-skinned, and just know if somebody's not nice to you, that's their problem. That's not about you. That's their problem. Just get what you can intellectually from them. You get me? Very important. All right, last question.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm finishing this, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who still have questions. To help answer the question that she just asked, I wrote down what you said. You said the keys to student success are attitudes, values, and expectations of students, faculty, and staff.
That's exactly right. Very good. Give her a hand for that. I'm impressed. She was listening. I love it. I love it.
My question's a little bit